Today we are going through my egg donation journey. I donated my eggs 5 years ago and I had loads of questions about it. I'm gonna explain everything, start to finish. Did I get paid for it? It's another question. People are so obsessed with that. My mum's exact words were, when I told her I was doing it, was, "You're a effing nutter." I really hope it inspires people, because I've had a few people asking about they are interested in doing it as well. So yeah, hopefully inspire some other people to do it as well if that's something you're interested in. Hello and welcome to Honest Hair TV with me, Nicola. Welcome back. If you haven't been here before, hello. I do YouTube videos and also I'm on Spotify as well. So if you're listening to this on Spotify, you can actually watch on YouTube. There is no benefit to watching on YouTube. The only thing is you might get a quick glimpse of my cat Pearl, but other than that, there's nothing really to see. But today we are going through my egg donation journey, as I recently shared on my Instagram that one of my eggs has been used. I donated my eggs 5 years ago and I had loads of questions about it. So I just thought it'd be easier just for me to put it all in one video, explain everything start to finish, like why I did it, how I feel about it, did I get paid for it? It's another question. People are so obsessed with that. So I'm going to be answering all the questions and yeah, just telling you all about my journey, and I really hope it inspires people, because I've had a few people asking about they are interested in doing it as well. So yeah, hopefully inspire some other people to do it as well if that's something you're interested in, or if you're going to use an egg donor as well. I met someone in the whole journey who was using an egg donor, who I didn't know at the time was using an egg donor. So again, that was something that inspired me to do it. So yeah, I'm going to explain everything start to finish. And yeah, hopefully I answer all your questions. So let's start off with why I wanted to do it. So it's kind of like hard to explain everything, but I'm going to give it a really good go. I'm going to explain everything from start to finish, which is kind of tricky to do because there is so much to it, but I'm going to do my very best. So to start off with where everything started. So I donated my eggs about 5 years ago now. The whole thing that started it in my head was I was living with a friend. I had a friend come round and I do hair, and I was doing my friend's hair, and she was actually engaged and getting married. So we were having this discussion, I was doing her hair, and then the conversation was, like, I said to her, like, did you always know you were going to be married? And she was like, yeah. And she was like, and I thought I'd have kids by now too. And I was like, oh, like, and then I don't know, there's something went in my head of like, I've never wanted to get married. I don't want to have children. And I was like, okay, like, I think you are programmed, like, in your head when you want that, you just know you want it, which has never been a thing for me. So yeah, that kind of like set things moving like in my head. And then I had a lot of friends who were trying to have children and it wasn't really working out for them, or there was like complications, like things going wrong. And then yeah, like in my head, I was like, I don't want to have children. I've experienced all these people around me like trying to have children, it maybe not going their way. And it just kind of got me thinking. And then I looked into egg donation and I thought, like, yeah, it's weird because whenever I explain it to someone or like I say to them about my egg donation, they're always like, oh my God, that's really great, like how amazing. But I kind of did it for selfish reasons because I felt bad. Like I feel bad that I don't want to have children, and there are people who are trying to have children who can't. So I kind of thought if I did it, it kind of gets the guilt off me. That's my thinking anyway. So yeah, I thought I'd feel less guilty about not wanting to have them, and obviously, you know, someone who's struggling to have them is, you know, they can use my eggs kind of thing. So that was my whole like thought process basically. And so I looked into a local clinic near me, and when I applied for it, they do like full on like health checks. Like you have everything checked out. Like it's a full on health check. And within all of that, they obviously do like an internal scan. And I did find out that I had PCOS, which I didn't know I had. And that can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing when you're donating eggs because I'm not releasing eggs because of my PCOS. I've got like a really high egg count. So it kind of works out in my benefit, well, for egg donation, that I've got a really high egg count, but also it's dangerous because I've got polycystic ovaries, which is cysts on my ovaries, which if they give me too much of the drugs, it can like make me really sick, basically. So they were kind of like umming and ahhing, like everything else was good other than this. And so I was quite like high risk to be donating eggs. So, and then the other thing was I had to lose weight as well. So you have to have like a healthy BMI and obviously be like fit and healthy because you're obviously sharing your eggs with people and you don't want like birth defects and things like that. So you have a full on like health check, everything. And yeah, so the only things that I found out was that I have PCOS and I need to lose weight as well. So the whole thing from me applying to actually me donating, it took about a year. Because it was just coming out of lockdown and obviously in lockdown, I think everyone was guilty of putting on a bit of weight. So I had a little bit of like lockdown weight to lose. So I joined the gym. I had a personal trainer. I was going to Slimming World, which they actually recommended. I would never normally go to something like that, but it actually really helped. And I lost a lot of weight from doing that. The whole thing took about a year. And weirdly enough, when I was in the process of losing the weight and I kept going back and having like checks and things like that, I was actually talking to two people who were close to me and they were going through IVF because basically how it works is like you go through like IVF. So you take all the drugs for IVF, but obviously you're not having the eggs put back into you, they're just taking them out kind of thing. So I knew two people who were close to me who were having IVF, and so obviously I was talking to them about it because I'm going to be doing the same process as what they're doing, just not having the eggs put back in. And in all of that, one of the girls actually told me, she's like, she didn't want to make it known, but she was using an egg donor. And she's gone on to have her child who is an egg donor. So yeah, so I was talking to her throughout all of this and she was showing me like the place where she was going. And basically when you're an egg donor, you write something that goes to the parents and also you write something that goes to the child because obviously they need to know from an early age that they're an egg donor because they're essentially maybe going to have siblings out there and they need to know. So yeah, that kind of really helped me to kind of shape what I was going to write to the child and what I was going to write to the parents. It has to be sort of, you know, quite vague. So the only things that they know about you are your hair colour, your eye colour, and that you're, you know, your race basically. So other than that, they don't know anything else. Other than this little like paragraph that you write about yourself. So yeah, I'm not going to say about what I wrote and things like that, but I'm going to say a little bit about what I wrote to the child because that's kind of all around like why I wanted to do it in the first place. Which yeah, there's some like strange circumstances to it. So yeah, so I lost the weight. I was ready to do all the egg donation. And another part of the process is that they offer you counselling. So they go through things like why you're donating your eggs, like how you're going to feel when, you know, your biological child has grown up and they can find you, like how you're going to feel about that. And I went through the counsellor with like a story about my mum, and it's like a really big part of like why I did the donation as well. Not just that I don't feel like I want to have children, but that, yeah, it's just a really big part of like the way I think. But I'll explain the story and then you'll kind of get an idea. So my mum is one of 5 girls, my poor grandma and granddad. But basically my mum's first sister was born and then she was given away for adoption. So my mum never knew her oldest sister. And long story short, when my mum's oldest sister, so my mum's always wanted to find out like who this sister is, like what does she look like, you know, where does she live, like things like that. She's always wanted to know. Anyway, like when she was about sort of like 50 or 60, as in the older sister, her parents, her mum I believe, died, and then she found out, and only found out at that point, that she was adopted and that her brother was also adopted. So her brother wasn't her brother and her mum wasn't her biological mum. So she contacted my mum, wanted to kind of meet her other sisters, and then she changed her mind like last minute. And my mum was like really upset about this. Like she's always wanted to know this sister, always wanted to like, you know, see her, things like that. And yeah, like I just never got my head around it. Like I've got like family in other countries and things like that, and like my brain doesn't work like that. Like I've got like people in my life that I class more as my family, like than my blood family, if that makes sense. So the fact that it's like biological doesn't really make, like, I don't know, like I can't find the words to describe it, but I feel like just being blood family isn't enough. Like I feel like there are people in your life, you make your own family, I believe anyway, but that's another big part of it for me, is that, yeah, it's just it being biological is just that, like I'm not going to be their mum. It's just like DNA, like it is what it is kind of thing. And whoever's using my eggs and going through that whole process, like that's their family. It doesn't matter if it's not biological, that is their family. They're going to bring them up, they're going to love them. And yeah, that's just how I think. So when I wrote the letter that goes to the child, bearing in mind all of that story, I basically wrote something along the lines of like, if you want to meet me, you can. If you want to look at my picture on Instagram, you can. If you want to know where I work, you can. If you want to ring me up and just talk to me for like 2 minutes, you can. Or if not, like if you don't want to do any of that, like it doesn't matter. Like basically nothing is wrong. Like anything you want to do is not wrong. And I'm very open to like meeting them and, you know, getting to know them as well. But ultimately, I'm not their family. Even though it's like biological, I'm not their family. And yeah, that's just my brain. That's just how I think. So yeah, so that's another big reason why I did it as well. But on that topic, so basically they're obviously told from a very young age that they're an egg donor, and there is something that I've written that goes to the child, which I've just explained a little bit about what I wrote in that. And yeah, so when they're 16, they can find out your identifying features, which are obviously that I've got red hair. It's looking blonde at the moment, but it is red. And I've got brown eyes, and they're obviously going to know my race anyway. And then when they're 18, they can basically find out everything about you. So they can find out where you live, everything. But with all the ancestry.com things that they've got going on now, it could be sooner. And when I donated my eggs, the year after was their first round of 18-year-olds that were coming. So they didn't actually know how things were going to play out because they'd not had their first round of 18-year-olds yet. And they did explain to me as well that they're more likely to want to know who their siblings are rather than their like biological mum. But like I said, if for any reason in years and years time to come, if this video is living on YouTube somewhere and my biological child finds it, you might just want to watch this video. Maybe you just want to watch this video and then be like, oh, okay, cool. But otherwise, if you want to ring me, ring me. If you don't, you don't. Like, it's nothing is wrong. Like, I completely get, like, I just feel like if I was told tomorrow, my brother's not my brother, my sister's not my sister, my dad's not my dad, my mum's not my mum, I really wouldn't care. It's just how my brain works, but I know that other people don't think like that. So yeah, that's just my thinking. Anyway, so to get back to the actual donation part of everything. So I've lost weight. I've got a healthy BMI. I'm ready to donate. I've, been chatting to my friends who've been doing IVF, chatting to my friend who's been using an egg donor and how she feels about that. And then I started the process. So you basically, I can't remember everything because it was a long time ago, but I'm going to try. So basically you have 2 injections. So the whole process took about, I think it was like just under 2 weeks. So I started taking the injections. So I had one in the morning and then one in the evening. First of all, started off taking this drug called Overleap. It was like a really fine point needle and like in a pen kind of situation. And they tell you the dose that you need. So you literally mark it up on the pen and then you just inject it into your stomach. And then there was another one, I can't remember the name of it, that you do it in the evening. And it was a really big needle and I had bruises all over my stomach. It was horrible. And because they were really worried about the dosage that they were giving me, because of my polycystic ovaries, because they didn't want to overstimulate my follicles. So that's another thing. So if you didn't already know this, as a woman, you are born with all the eggs that you're ever going to have in your lifetime. So basically how it works is, so obviously when you have your period, you have 1 or 2 eggs which are mature that come out. Obviously, if they're fertilized, they stick to your womb lining. If they're not, they come out and you have a period. So obviously, because I've got polycystic ovaries, I'm not releasing many eggs. So I have loads of eggs still, or follicles, I should say. They were worried about overstimulating my follicles to turn them into eggs. So I would go pretty much like every other day for them to internally scan me. So in the morning before work. And I just started a new job as well, which was, kind of crazy. I was literally the 2nd week of my new job, but I was so determined to do it that I was just like, I'm just going to go for it. And so I was being checked like every other day. And when it came to it, so that was going on for like a few days. And then I'm not going to lie to you, the last 5 days everything was fine, other than up until the last 5 days. But because I had so many of my eggs that were mature, that my ovaries were so big that they were pushing on my bladder. So like if I drank literally a can of Coke, 20 minutes later, I need to have a wee and I need to have it like immediately because they were so big that they were pushing on my bladder and it was just horrific. Last like 5 days, I was so done and I was so ready to just have them out and it be done. So when it came up to it, you basically take an injection right at the end, which stops you from having a period. So stops your mature eggs from coming out and basically you losing them. And then you go in for your operation to have the eggs removed. And how they remove them is they put you to sleep and they put a needle up there and they get them out. So I went in for that. And it was really interesting because they put you in a room and, you're in the car park, first of all. So I was in the car park and then they call you in. So obviously there's all these other people in the car park. And when I was looking around, it was all couples and then literally just me on my own in the car park. And when I was there, not that I was having second thoughts, but I was a bit like, do I really want to do this? I'm not really sure. And then they called me in and I was like one of the first people to go in. They put me in a room and they left my door open. And I think they did this on accident, but I heard this couple come in who obviously got called in, and basically I heard the conversation and the woman said, she was like, oh yeah, she's like, I'm back again, like 3rd time lucky. And I was like, I was like, okay, like I felt like relaxed then because I was like, that's who I'm doing it for. Like that's the reason why I'm doing it. It's for people who like are struggling and they don't have like eggs or whatever, like, and they need this and they want this. And so it just kind of like reinforced in my brain like why I was doing it. I had a really nice doctor, can't remember his name for the life of me, but also part of you donating your eggs, you have to sign a form to basically say that they could potentially damage your bladder, irreversibly damage your bladder. So that's something else as well that I didn't know beforehand and I was like low-key worried about. But yeah, the whole operation and everything, it was really, really quick. I just had like some like cramping afterwards. I didn't feel that great. But other than that, it was absolutely fine. And I was really happy like when I'd done it. And yeah, obviously like I wanted to know like if they'd been used. So basically they recommend that you wait a little while, obviously, afterwards before you check to see if they've been used. So basically the information that you can get is when the child was born and also the sex. So I've had one of my eggs used and I know the sex and also the year that the child was born. And I was thinking about if I would share like how many eggs that I donated, but I don't think it's important information. So I'm going to leave that bit out. But I donated eggs. And that's all you need to know. I'm just glad that I have been able to do something that, you know, a family needed and probably so desperately wanted. I have done that for them. And yeah, like I'm really glad I did it. And I really recommend it to anybody else who's like thinking about it. And yeah, like I'm not going to say the place where I went or anything like that. Like you can search up there. There'll be like somewhere like local to you that does it. But I definitely recommend it if it's something that you're thinking of. I did actually ask about doing it again, but because I have such an high AMH level, which I low-key didn't know what that meant. But basically it means that I just have like a really high follicle count. I've got a lot of eggs and they were already really worried about me doing it beforehand. So yeah, they weren't willing to do it again with me. So which is fair enough. I feel like I've done it the once and yeah, I'm really proud that I did it. And the other thing that everybody's so interested about is the money. Like, do you get paid? Do you get paid for it? Well, you do. You do get paid for it. You get £750 and it's like a flat rate. Like you don't get more if you donate more eggs or less eggs or something like that. It's £750. And yeah, it's just kind of nice because your body goes through so much, you know, like you have like really high like hormonal changes. I had to take days off work. I obviously didn't do it for the money. And if you are thinking about doing it for the money, I can think of a lot better ways to raise £750 and putting yourself through that, trust me. So yeah, but everyone's so interested in the money side of it. So yeah, £750 is what you get. I don't know if it's the same now or what, I don't know, but yeah. And yeah, I guess the other thing that I haven't really covered is like what my family think about it, because I never knew, like, I just kind of, obviously it's my body and I can do what I want, but yeah, my family did and do, I think, still find it a bit weird. So my mum's exact words were, when I told her I was doing it, was, "You're a effing nutter," which she's not wrong, I guess, but yeah, it is what it is. Like, it's weird to think, like, yeah, I guess, because it's like but again, like, my brain just doesn't work like that, and I guess other people's do, and I've been talking to some of my clients about it as well, and one of my clients was saying about, like, she would have loved to have done something like that, but then she was like, oh, I don't know, you know, how my children would feel about that, because you know, she was obviously always wanting to have children, so she was like, how would it be if I donated my eggs and then obviously when I had children later down the line, they've potentially got siblings out there, like, how are they going to feel about that? And I guess that's something that you don't really think of. And in the whole process of it as well, like, when I was donating, I was very adamant of like, yeah, I don't want children. And literally all the like nursing staff and everything were like, you know, you could change your mind. And it's like, yeah, like, I could change my mind. Like, that's like my prerogative. Like, I could change my mind. Like, I'm perfectly allowed to change my mind. But I just feel like I've been like this for like many years now of like, I do not want children. So that's just how I think. So yeah, I'm completely entitled to change my mind. But I don't think I will. And yeah, I'm just glad that, you know, somebody else who did want them, who couldn't have them, has been able to do that. And I really recommend it. I hope that I answered all the questions in this video. I really hope I did. It was so long ago that I'm trying my best to remember everything, and I had so many questions about it that I was like, oh, I can't answer them all. Like, I just need to put everything in one video and then you can watch it. And yeah, so I really recommend it. And if you're able to do it, definitely. And yeah, I hope you found this interesting and insightful. And any questions, let me know in the comments or DM me if I haven't answered them on here already. And like, share, subscribe if you like this video, and I will see you on the next one.